welcome back to part 2. Today we're going to be going through the rest of our gardens and going through the different spacings that we have for all our vegetables, as well as things that we are doing differently that we've done last year, being that we're in a northern climate and we have a shorter gardening season. If you have not seen the first part of this two-part series, I would recommend going to that one where we take a look at our biggest garden. Today we are going to be looking at zucchinis, cucumbers, Swiss chard, lettuce, beans and peas, as well as our tomatoes and peppers, which are in our greenhouse. So moving forward, we have our zucchinis here. This is our latest garden that we just turned over last year. We didn't want to put any root vegetables in here just because of the sheer fact because the grass has not completely died. As you can see here, the soil is not as soft, it's not as composted, the word I'm looking for, and there's still a lot of rocks. So our idea with this one here is just to put a majority of our crawlers or anything that grows above ground. That way we're not hindering the root vegetables from growing. So our zucchinis here, we have them spaced at 4 feet apart from plant to plant, and then we've given them probably 6 to 8 feet on either side so that they can crawl. Then over here it is an empty spot that we just recently had to replant our cucumbers. I said in our previous video that we were still getting down to close to the freezing mark, even though it's mid-June here, and so our cucumbers did not make it, and we decided to replant them. So with our cucumbers, we have them at 2 feet apart, and then we have about 5 feet, 6 feet for them to crawl outwards to. Next is our Swiss chard. They were also a little iffy with the cooler weather, especially when they're just small, but they've turned around. We did plant our lettuce or the Swiss chard a little close, but it is what it is. So what we have here is 2 feet between the plants, and then we have 18 inches from the next row of lettuce, and then we also have excuse me, 4 feet from our cucumbers. Then we have 4 rows of lettuce here. They're all 1 foot apart, and we have not thinned anything up. This is just basically what the seeds are that came up, and we're just going to leave them like that. It's not the greatest turnout, however, it's something better than nothing, and we do actually have a second lettuce garden upstairs as well, right by our back door, so it's a little easier for Kimberly to just swing outside and whip out lunch if need be. So that takes care of our second largest garden. We're going to head up to the other gardens where we're going to take a look at the trellis system with the beans, and then we're also going to take a look at the greenhouse with our tomatoes and our peppers. All right, now we're back at our main beast location here. This is our latest garden. If you've been following this channel, you've kind of seen how the garden was built, the fence was installed, and the A-frame trellis system built. If you haven't, go check out those videos because there's always something to learn, right? Obviously the fencing still has not been fixed or finished, but that'll be done later on. Now let's get to the spacing. The spacing for the beans, I have 2 different types of beans in here, but I did the same spacing right across. So basically I did them, made a trench down the side of the trellis system and put them basically within inches, so whatever my fingers are. I rode them as close as I could because I had an abundance, and waited to see what was going on. The back trellis system, sorry, that was the front trellis system. The back trellis system is all transplant, and I still did the same thing even though that they were transplants. I planted them as close as I could, and they seem to be doing well. You can see that they are much bigger, and so they are a couple weeks ahead of the front ones. we're not sure exactly how the trellis system is going to work, but if you keep on following this channel and hit that subscribe button, you'll see in the fall how this all comes together. So we're going to head over into the greenhouse now. That's where I'll show you the tomatoes and the peppers and the other section of beans that we have there as well. Alright, now we are in the greenhouse. If you've been following this, like I've said, you've seen what this was like last year, and it was a complete disaster. This year has been a huge change, and I'd like to welcome you in here. We have kind of kept everything to simplicity. Peppers on one side, tomatoes on the other side, beans on the trellis system there, and because we had an extra couple plants, I decided to throw a bench in here just to grow our tomatoes and peppers and a little bit of cilantro as well. On this side here, we have all our tomato plants. We have 7 different types of tomatoes. We have beefsteak, Scotia, Jasper, a heart-shaped one, Ace 55, and another homegrown tomato there, as well as a few cherry tomatoes hanging at the top there. The spacing that we've done in here are basically 3 feet in between, or sorry, 2 feet in between each plant. You can notice that in this section here it's a little off because one of us might have been drinking that day and things didn't work out as they should have. But regardless, they are doing much better this year. Plenty of flowers coming out, so we'll be having tomatoes in the near future. We've got a beefsteak here and a couple other things. So on the other side, we have all our pepper plants. At the front there, we have peppers that are called shepherd peppers. We have hot peppers here, and then we have California bell peppers on the far side. The spacing on those are the same. They're about 18 to 24 inches in between. I don't have to give you a row spacing because obviously we have 10 feet or so in between each one. Now the beans in the top here are are in troughs. We do have a couple extra peas in here also, but out of 36 pods, we've only had a handful that actually germinated and that we're able to grow. So we tossed them in here, and in here as well, we took the beans and just kind of were aggressive with it and added as many as we can. So we did also train them to come out and then bend over onto the trellis system, and they've made it probably between 5 to 6 feet in length thus far. It's been really cold lately, so the peppers have not been taken off until recently. Like I've been saying in the previous videos, it's been getting down to close to 0 still in mid-June here. But now that we're hitting the upper 20s for our Canadian folks out there, the US viewers, please do your conversions. Things that are really starting to happen now. We got little bell pepper or little peppers starting to grow in here, and everything's doing really well. One thing I'd like to point out, for the new viewers out there, we do not use any commercial fertilizers in any of our gardens here. You may see some Miracle Grow and whatever in the background there, but that was just left from the previous owners. So the only fertilizers that we do use is rabbit manure, chicken manure, and goat manure in this. And if you got close enough to this, you could probably even see them still in there. So we are completely and 100% organic in this, in all our gardens. So hopefully you got some great information out of all this. It helped you out in your gardening journeys. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you haven't subscribed, please do so and hit that like button if you've got some good information out of this. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you on the next one.